Welcome to Ask Dr. Jana. Today, I am interviewing a very important person who is running for district judge. I'll let him tell you about himself. His name is Aaron Holston, and I'm very excited about his campaign and what he can do. So I'll let him introduce himself and tell you all about what he can do and who can vote for him.
Thank you, Dr. Jana, for having me. So, as Dr. Jana has stated, my name is Aaron Holston, and currently I'm running for magisterial district judge in Norristown, specifically within Norristown's District 1, and that is 38-1-15. And specifically, the persons that can vote for me, I'll break it up into two segments. First, the persons that can actually vote for me would be the constituents that actually live in that specific judicial district of 38-1-15 in Norristown. So if you lived outside Norristown, or if you actually lived outside that particular district, you couldn't actually vote for me. So I'm actually looking for those particular persons that live in that district. And then even secondly, as of right now, since I am on the Democratic ticket, only those persons that are Democrats can actually vote for me for the upcoming Democratic primary on May 18th. If I make it past that point, then at that point, then anybody, it'll be a wide open election at that point for the general election. And anybody within Norristown, within District 1, can actually vote for me. As far as a little bit about myself, Dr. Jana, I'm originally from Philadelphia, born and bred. I am a product of the Philadelphia School District. I'm a graduate of Central High School of Philadelphia. I received my undergrad from University of Pittsburgh, and then a couple of years later, I received my Master's of Laws from Widener University School of Law in Delaware.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you have only a certain amount of people who can vote for you in Norristown.
That is correct.
And what impressed me was that you are new, and you haven't been worn out, burnt out. You have new blood to get in there and make a difference.
Yes.
And I know you will.
Yes.
And I think that our viewers are going to find that out as well.
Yes.
I like your views on prison reform. You have many, different views, but maybe tell us a little bit about your personal story.
As far when you say personal story, as far as
anything that people can remember about you that they might like to know, or that they might find enjoyable.
Funny story about me smiling.
Okay.
Being from Philadelphia, I was always taught, or at least learned through the environment, that smiling wasn't something to do. Like Philadelphia, to me, it's a welcoming city, but it's also a tough city. Whereas you have to always be on your guard,
right.
and look at people with a certain amount of skepticism, or not criticism, but wariness, for lack of a better term.
You got to be a little guarded.
Yes. So what's funny about that is actually I remember when I was 16, my dad actually told me that I should actually smile a little bit more, but at the time I didn't think anything of it, just because of the fact that, Dad, you old. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. but I remember when I was during my college years, during my undergrad at University of Pittsburgh, I actually started to smile when women actually told me I should actually smile more, because I have a really pretty smile.
You have a very nice smile.
Yeah, when it came down to
drink
it.
To that, yes.
So after about 15 different women, either associates at school, or even when I was working at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, even the associates there actually told me, not associates, excuse me, my coworkers there actually told me, you should really smile more because you have an extremely pretty smile. If anything, I was told that was my one of my best traits that I have. Yes.
Okay.
So ever since then, I've been smiling a whole lot more.
That's great. That's great.
And also,
you do have an amazing smile. It lights up everything.
Thank you. And even when I was out campaigning a couple of days ago out throughout in Norristown, a constituent actually said to me, he said, and this was coming from a man, He said, I normally have a good judge of character, but the fact that you can even smile through a mask because you're smiling through your eyes, that makes me want to. Yeah, he said, that actually makes me like you that much more because of, you seem much more genuine, doing that. So I was like, yeah, I guess I still have it, 18 years later.
I think you do. I mean, that's what impresses me, and that's why I wanted to quickly interview you before the primary, because someone who can make a difference. I mean, anyone who looks at your face, it's like, this is the face of sincerity.
Yes.
This is the face of somebody who wants to try, who's not burned out, hasn't been in the system 100 years or 30 years, and hasn't accomplished anything. You're ready to go.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. I've been a psychologist forever, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, you won me over right away.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could vote for you, but unfortunately I can't.
I wish you could too.
Yeah, I would get everyone if I could. One day.
Yes.
One day I'll be able to.
So just to go back as to my qualifications and me being ready day one. As I stated a little bit earlier, I do have, I received my master's from Widener University, from Widener's University School of Law in Delaware, but also, and even more importantly, what actually makes me qualified to sit as a magisterial district judge is that I received my, for lack of a better term, my judge certification from the Commonwealth.
That's right.
Yeah, so I received that back in November 2019, and I know there's a lot of talk as to saying, do judges, do they need to be attorneys or what? And the actual answer to that is, as far as being a magisterial district judge, the answer to that is no. Of course, if you are recognized by Pennsylvania Supreme Court or by the Bar of Pennsylvania, then of course you don't need to sit for the certification. I sat for the certification, and this is actually coming from Article 5 of Pennsylvania's Constitution that actually states the qualifications in order to sit as a magisterial district judge.
So you passed with flying colors your judge school, so to speak.
Yes.
So you're highly qualified.
Yes.
And not to mention all your work in the community and your ties with the community and your desire to improve conditions.
Yes, that is correct. So to that, I actually joined the NAACP about 2 years ago within the community. But what really made me realize that there were issues within the community and even ongoing issues is that Norristown was in the midst, last year, Norristown was in the midst of potentially selling their sewer authority. And the issue there was that Norristown Sewer Authority is solvent. So in my mind, there was no need for it to actually be sold. And then also, the Sewer Authority is literally one of the very last assets that Norristown actually has. But what makes it, more a little bit more concerning was that, a lot of constituents in Norristown weren't even aware that, the authority, that the potential sale of the sewer authority was even going to happen. And the problem, what makes it is that, well, if it were going to be sold, our sewer rates would have either doubled or tripled. And I know regardless of what somebody's political affiliation is, if you don't have to pay extra money for something or for the same service, why would you? So once you start talking money, that normally gets everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that normally gets everybody's.
That's an important issue. Yeah.
Yes. But what I learned from that is, as well as that, a lot of people in Norristown, constituents in Norristown, they're not aware of what's actually happened publicly or even locally. And to say, and this leads me to my next point. I was always a believer in that, being involved in the in the national elections or even the midterm elections, yes, those are important. But I'll say the most important ones are your local elections because of the fact that those are the ones that directly affect you. As far as when it comes down to policy, regardless if it's good or bad, the allocation of taxes, who's your mayor, who's your police, and ultimately how the way you're going to be treated, and that also includes even your elected judicial officials. If you elect a judicial official who doesn't really care about you, and not to say that they should care about you, but they don't really have a what's the word I'm looking for? A
proprietary interest of some sort, some kind of reason to be interested.
Yes, or compassion. You're going to be treated badly. And to me, I always say,
and you live in Norristown.
Yes, and I live in Norristown.
And you've been listening to your constituents.
Yes.
You've been listening to people who've reached out to you and have said, "Can you help us with these issues?"
We just want to know.
You've been responding.
Yes, and people just want to know who our elected officials are, and that leads me into another point. They want to see new faces. They want to see new changes, and not to say a new face is always the best thing, but at least with new faces, that normally comes new ideas. can be possibly more progressive ideas. You know, I say this: as times changes, so should the people in office.
I think it's a very convincing statement. I feel satisfied with what you've said so far.
Oh, wow, thank you.
I'm very impressed. As I said, I'll be voting for you as you go up the ladder, and I can vote for you.
Yes.
But I'm happy to introduce you to people right now.
Thank you.
Is there anything we missed? Anything else you want to say? You seem like you covered it, but
I think I covered everything as far as I'm just like everybody else as far as, you know, it took me a while to figure out, you know, local elections are the ones that, you know, are the ones that people need to really be involved in and take care of.
And these are the people who will respond to you the
Yes.
most. On a local level,
Yes.
you're going to respond to your community where you live.
Yes.
And you're going to, you know, they're going to come to you and you're going to listen.
Yes.
Which is extremely important.
I want to represent my community. I'm just like everybody else. I'm came from a blue collar background, and I worked my way up, and this is something that I want to do. I want to be judge. I have a not only an interest but a passion, just because of the fact that I want to serve my community in which I live.
I think that's beautiful. I'm so honored to be interviewing you. I'm honored that you're here, and I encourage everybody coming from Ask Dr. Jana, vote for this man if you can. If he's in your district, you won't go wrong. This is Aaron Holston, and he is an excellent candidate. So, saying goodbye for now from Ask Dr. Jana. Thank you.
Thank you.